Ever curious why you always tend to lose when you pick up this legendary? Or why every time somebody's playing that legendary against you, they seem to be on the winning team? No, it's not witchcraft. It's not happenstance. There are numbers involved. And today we're going to take a look at a few of them. Now remember, numbers don't tell the whole story. They only tell a little bit, kind of like a conjecture, or, allow you to make these correlations that aren't necessarily the cause of what's happening. If you're not familiar with correlations and causation, a correlation could mean that people who watch a lot of TV also die earlier. But that doesn't mean that watching TV causes them to die. The fact that they live a sedentary life that allows them to watch a lot of TV could also mean that they don't eat very well, they don't move their bodies a lot, they don't get outside. All of those things could contribute to them, but we're just looking at the fact that if you happen to watch a lot of TV, you probably also do a few of those things. Just recently on Twitter, we were shown some legendary cards by Hi-Res Stu that showed the most winningest legendaries for a champion above the other picks. For instance, this is an idea that if you pick this legendary, it gives you the highest chance to win in comparison to picking any of the others. Now, of course, there's so many reasons as to why. It could be the meta, it could be the champion, and that just this goes really well with their kit, makes them better at what they're already really good at doing. Or the legendary could just be OP. I mean, come on, let's be real. The truth is, this is not to come to any conclusive statements, but to raise some questions and get some thoughts going, get a conversation started about why these legendaries are at the top, why they make the biggest difference, and throw out some conjectures. I want to encourage all of you to like the video, to comment down below, to share it with your friends. Again, engage in the conversation and let me know your thoughts after hearing what I have to say. So without further ado, let's talk about the current best legendaries in Paladins. First up, we've got Pitt. The flanker support, the specialist, the guy who never heals you. We all know how frustrating it is when the Pip on your team is out doing a job flanking and not healing you, but maybe that's actually a good thing. According to the current numbers, players who pick Acrobatics Pip win 5% more of the time than choosing any other of his legendaries. That's pretty insane. Maybe this means that Pip is actually designed to be more successful when he does flank. Acrobatics giving you that high maneuverability, allowing Pip to be more annoying at what he's already annoying at doing, seems to improve his win percentage even more. Now, why could this be? Sure, it could be essentially a design. What this character is really good at doing is flanking. That's why he's got the meme of being a flank and not a healer. And maybe when you accentuate what he's already good at, he excels even further. That makes a lot of sense. Secondly, I think a great theme of legendaries that are successful, and what I think is successful in first-person shooters, is having high mobility. This allows him to double jump, actually change directions mid-air, and reduces the cooldown of his already pretty short cooldown movement skill, just giving him more survivability, thus staying alive longer, thus contributing more healing and damage, thus winning more often. Another reason is that this legendary may be very balanced at the higher levels of play, but very skewed towards being overpowered at the lower levels of play, or in console, because of the fact that Pip, when using his upwards mobility, is very hard to track. As you get more experience with shooters, you obviously get better aim through practice, and those who aren't experienced have a tough time dealing with a champion who's just bopping above their head and shooting them. It's like a panic situation, and he's just too fast to really aim and hit consistently. We also don't know how much this legendary was played. As for all of these, that information wasn't in Stu's tweet, and so we'll leave it out unless he decides to share it. This could mean like 2% of players are actually playing Acrobatics Pip, and they could all be at the highest level. So if all the highest level players play Acrobatics Pip and win all their games, that would increase the win rate the entire legendary would have by a pretty large margin. Coming in at number 2 with a 5.09% increase to the champion's win variance overall is Wormjet's Drogos. In my opinion, Drogos has some of the most balanced and effective legendaries in the game. He's got 3 legitimate options for 3 different situations, but Wormjet's has always been an extremely powerful tool to give a Drogos. Not only does he have the ability to vertically scale himself above and out of your field of vision, but he also can do that extremely quickly horizontally as well, and bunny hop, so to speak, with this legendary. It essentially is the same effect that Acrobatics Pip can have. When you combine his overall ability with booster and thrust and then add the increased speed, he just gains so much mobility while already having a ton of damage. This makes a great character even better. When legendaries were introduced, Wormjet's was even more powerful in the testing and iteration phase before it was released. In fact, it was 100% booster speed instead of what it currently is 65%. It was a pretty rough time to be in a playtest, although I cannot deny it was a ton ton of fun. Drogoz is a really strong character with a lot of damage and a very effective kit against frontline champions who are crucial to Paladins. So if you can have the frontline advantage, it almost means that you're more guaranteed to win. This just adds to his survivability and clearly helps him to get some more W's. Coming in at number 3, which is actually a surprise to me, it's Maeve with Rogue's Gambit, giving her a 4.87% win variance over the champion average. Now this actually is a big surprise to me. The reason it's a surprise is because I think Maeve actually gets shut down by CC. She's very mobile, and when she can't be that mobile, she doesn't offer as much to a battlefield. Somebody like Deep Roots Grover can absolutely shut her down and make her very vulnerable, which is why Artful Dodger adding the heal and also adding the CC immunity cleanse seems like it would be a very, very good choice and add to her winning more games. Rogue's Gambit allows Maeve to reset the cooldown of her Pounce ability. That's the right-click dash every time she gets an elimination. This isn't a kill. Anybody that she tags and then dies allows her to 100% reset her dash, meaning she could use it for mobility, but she can also use it for extra damage. If you listen to some of the professional players, especially in Europe, Maeve isn't considered viable over Androxus or Eevee because she doesn't have the ability to snowball a fight as easily as those two. Although Artful Dodger is seen as the go-to legendary in a high scene, Rogue's Gambit could be offering what they seem to be looking for. Again, we don't know if this is low-level play, which I feel like in low-level play this would be extremely good, but even in high-level play, maybe there's something to this stat. It could be allowing Maeves to just get away and stay alive longer with an extra dash to clear space, or it could be allowing Maeves to go ham and finish off one target, dash, finish off another, get some extra damage, and really carry their own weight as a flanker. Pros are always more likely to go for the safer or the more reliable option, and getting resets on eliminations for your dashes isn't exactly reliable when you're giving up CC immunity cleansing and a big heal. See, Maeve is played very aggressively from what I usually see and how I play her, and I think that most people would maybe benefit from Rogue's Gambit more from a patient playstyle, throwing your knives, tagging a lot of enemies, and then getting the resets as those eliminations begin to fall. And we definitely did see pros play more of a patient style when Maeve was first in the meta and introduced as a champion. So I'm not saying that this is the case. We don't know how many people are playing this. It could be like 0.5%, but what I'm saying is maybe there's a chance. I'm just kidding. It's not a chance. Maeve is OP. You heard it first right here. Raynday Gaming. Quote me. Now coming into number 4, it is Ying with the Resonance legendary, giving her a 4.8% win variance over the champion average. Now this makes a lot of sense to me for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that it lends Ying to doing what she already does, which is being a plug and play effective healer. Essentially, this is just free damage because you would have put those clones out anyway. People would have destroyed them, and if they don't, well, your clones stay alive, you heal longer, and if they do, well, you do more damage. I don't have to aim this, I don't have to time this, heck, I don't even control when these things get destroyed because that's up to my enemies, unless of course I decide to shatter, but most people don't shatter their Ying clones. Well, at a high level anyways, because it's better usually to keep them up for the healing. The point is, I could play my game exactly the same, have absolutely no more knowledge than the other person, and just get more stats. In the Paladins esports scene, Ying's legendary of choice, Focusing Lens, allows her left mouse button to deal more bonus damage, which eventually means that she does output more damage over the course of a game than most Resonance Yings would have. But that damage is only a result of high-level players aiming very well. If you can't land your basic attacks as often as someone else, you won't do as much damage with Focusing Lens Ying. So this is a bit more skill dependent. Some people may say, yo, Raynday, what about Lifelike? This legendary allows Ying to heal 2 people with her clones instead of just 1. And the reason I think it doesn't give her such a high win variance over her average is because of the fact that A, it relies on healing, which of course gets scaled down late game as a result of Cauterize. Also remember, because it's 60% of the normal damage, your frontline tank may not be getting enough healing they need to survive the fight, since you're healing for a lesser amount and it's being spread out elsewhere. It may be more valuable to have that concentrated healing onto the one target that really needs it. Just finishing up about Resonance Ying, I also think it makes it difficult for flankers and damage dealers to impact the point fight. I mean, you need a tank to be able to withstand those 500 clones shattering on you, because a Willow, an Eevee, a Tyra, that happens 3 times, that's 1500 damage. They cannot stand on an objective with all of that area splash happening to them. Trying to make your way onto a point with architectonic Barrack turrets shooting you and Ying Resonance clones exploding in your face every time you try and fight back, that's just not going to happen. Now, although there are 6 in this chart, I'm only going to be going over 5 and be giving an honorable mention to the last one because it does follow a similar theme from what we've been talking about. So the final champion is Barrack with Architectonics, giving him a 4.61% win variance over his champion average. Now, Architectonics is just good. Barrack is just good. His turrets are insanely strong because they just do so much damage and you don't think about them. Barrack is a great tank because he's the stay-at-home dad of Paladins. When he gets on his couch, he cracks open a cold one. It is impossible to move this guy until it says game over. Architectonics turns his normal turrets, which can miss and are projectiles, into hit scan turrets that cannot miss. So if you're an Eevee trying to run away on Soar and you've got 150 health left, too bad. That turret kills you mid-air. If you're Androxus, you did a great reversal and now you're going another step away out of the fight to safety, too bad. That turret shoots you in the back. I can't tell you how many hot plays these turrets have ruined. But more importantly, because turrets are not players, they become less of a priority to most casual players of Paladins. They don't think of the turrets as something that you have to kill right away, and so that damage stacks up. Oftentimes, Barrack will keep replacing them, maybe changing them, and while you're fighting, you're just taking 150, 180, whatever damage it is, over and over and over again until you're half health. While Barrack has a decent weapon and decent shielding and a very good ultimate to buy space, he's also got a movement skill. These turrets add to his damage and make him more deadly and give him a bigger presence from even outside of the objective, which is where he excels. They increase his sphere of influence, and that could be dramatically positive for anyone who's playing this champion. It's also no surprise that Barrack sometimes gets top damage even in Paladins esports games, and that this Architectonics legendary is the legendary of choice at the highest level. While Barrack is normally very good and dangerous on the point, he's usually not a threat from far away, but these turrets give him more damage and more of a presence from range, and that is why they're so strong in my opinion. So that's going to do it for today's video, giving you guys an in-depth look at the 5 most winningest legendaries in Paladins at the moment in comparison to their counterparts, and giving you some insight, at least in my opinion, as to why that might be the case. But why do you think they're strong? I want to know what your thoughts are. There's some things I haven't mentioned that you think I should consider as to why these legendaries excel the way they do, or maybe there's some things that you don't agree with. Let me know about those in the comment section below as well. As I said, an honorable mention goes to Bomb King with Accelerant as a legendary, coming in 6th place, giving him a 4.48% win variance over his other legendaries. Mobility, mobility, mobility. From the lowest to the highest level of play, it's always a desired attribute, and most importantly, his other legendaries give him what he already has, which is damage and extra CC or shield breaking potential. This legendary gives him super mobility, which is something that he doesn't normally have in his kit, and that's why it's just the ace in the hole. Again, thanks so much for watching the videos, everybody. It means a lot that you guys keep tuning in and tuning in quickly. Notification Squad, I love you guys and everyone who takes the time to support, to comment, and to just engage in this great community. Catch me on Twitter at Raynday Gaming, and as always, remember to never give up, never stop gaming, and I'll see you all next time.